Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Can you all hear me? We're all good. And we can begin. Today we're talking about finance. Boo, finance. Finance is so boring. We'll get through it. With that being said, we're happy Adrian's back. He was gone for a week and a half, and now he's back, and obviously we're excited about that. That's always good news. For everybody say, welcome back, Adrian. If you could write that in the chat, that'd be great, so he knows he is loved. And with that being said, we have our finance section. Okay, so when we're talking about finance, right, first thing that comes up is amortization. What does amortization mean? Anybody know? What does amortization mean? What do you guys think? Amortization. Okay, so amortization would be paying off the debt, right, guys, on an installment basis. Who here could tell me? Oh, am I buffering? Oh, am I buffering, guys? Am I still buffering? Are we better now? Hit refresh if you guys don't mind. Okay. Okay, so what is negative amortization? Who knows what negative amortization is? What's negative amortization? Who knows? What's negative amortization? So negative amortization would be when you're not paying off the interest, and so your debt keeps going up, right, guys? Your debt keeps going up when we're talking about negative amortization. What is a straight note? Who knows what a straight note is? What's a straight note? Also known as interest only, which kind of gives away the name. So what do we know about a straight note? So a straight note is when you pay off the interest only, so your debt stays exactly the same. You guys heard of a balloon payment? Who's heard of a balloon payment? A balloon payment is when you pay off the entire debt all at once, and that would obviously also be known as a partially amortized loan. That would be a partially amortized loan. Okay, moving right along. Let's look at the question on the board. An accounting term used to designate a payment or owing is called A, a waiver, B, a pledge, C, a credit, or D, a debit. What do you guys think? Okay, the answer is D, debit. Debit is what is owed. Good. In making new real estate loans, institutional lenders often charge a fee for expenses incurred for such items as document preparation and related work. The fee charge is often a percentage of the face amount of the loan and is referred to in the borrower's closing statement as A. Prepayment fee, B. Mortgage loan broker's fee, C. Loan discount fee, or D. Loan origination fee. What do you guys think? And the answer is D. Loan origination fee. Okay, move right along. Which of the following defines a mortgage loan? A financial obligation which is unsecured but is used to buy a building. B, an instrument that is used only in the exchange of real property. C, a promissory note that is unpaid. Or D, a loan collateralized with real estate. What do you guys think here? And the answer is D, a loan collateralized with real estate. Okay, the Federal Reserve Board increases cash reserve requirements to A, sell bonds, B, raise taxes, C, increase loan activity, or D, decrease loan activity. Okay, here we go. And the answer is D, decreased loan activity. It says incorrect, so I'm not clicking on the answer. I'm just clicking check answer. That's why. Okay, who here knows what an FHA loan is? Anybody here know what an FHA loan is? What's an FHA loan? What is an FHA loan? Does seem to be a lot of D, Sandra. That's correct. What is an FHA loan? An FHA loan is a government-insured loan. Do you need a down payment when you make an FHA loan? Do you need a down payment when doing an FHA loan? Yes, you do. Do you need a down payment when getting a VA loan? Do you need a down payment when doing a VA loan? And the answer is no. Good. An investor paid $300,000 for an apartment building, making $75,000 cash down payment. 1 year later, the property increased 10% value. This resulted in $30,000 or a 40% gain on the $75,000 equity. This is an example of A, leverage, B, plottage, C, none of the other options are correct, or D, highest and best use. And the answer is A, leverage. We are talking about leverage here. An acceleration clause is inserted into a note that is otherwise negotiable. Adding this clause, A, has no effect on negotiability, but also is of no benefit to the holder of the note. B, is required to be negotiable. C, makes the note non-negotiable. Or D, does not limit the negotiability of the note. What do you guys think? The answer is D. What's an acceleration clause? Anybody know what an acceleration clause is? What is an acceleration clause? So an acceleration clause is the lender's right to call the loan to be due and payable upon many reasons. One could be you don't pay your taxes. Another could be because you're not treating the property well. There's different reasons you could call an acceleration clause. It's similar, but not the same as a due on sale clause. Due on sale clause is what it says it is. Upon sale of the house, you have to pay the entire debt at that time. A balloon loan could also be described as A, a due on sale loan, B, a fully amortized loan, C, a non-assumable loan, or D, a partially amortized loan. What do you guys think? And we went over this before. This would be a partially amortized loan. Diana says, can a lease have an acceleration clause? I've never heard of that. I guess technically it could, but really we're talking about loans when you have an acceleration clause. Okay, a GPAM mortgage loan provides for A, an adjustment of an interest rate as market rates interest change. B, renegotiation of the interest rate on the note. C, a long-term loan consisting of a series of short-term notes. D, Diana, no, a lease is not a form of a loan. That's just payment of somebody because you're not getting ownership at the end of those payments. You have no form of ownership. Okay, the answer is D, deferment of certain payments of the principal during the early period of loan. When a lender speaks of discounting, the lender is probably referring to A, the process of determining the effective interest rate, B, the difference between the nominal interest rate and the effective interest rate on a specific loan, C, the loan proceeds dispersed by the lender are less favorable than the value of the note, or D, the process of determining the actual yield of a given loan by the adjusting variable interest rate. Okay, the answer is C. So this is when you pay amount up front. By the way, this is what it looks like when I click the wrong one, just so you guys know. Discounting is when you're paying the amount up front, so it takes down the amount over the long term of the loan. Okay, thanks, Adrian. When loaning money to two or more co-borrowers on a single promissory note, the lender would best be advised to increase the security of the note by inserting which of the following phrase after the names of the co-borrowers? A, individually and severally. B, jointly and severally. C, personally and corporately. Or D, together and individuals. What do you guys think? And the answer is B, jointly and severally. It means everybody is completely liable. Okay, when the real estate market changed from buyer's market to a seller's market, which of the following results could naturally be expected? A, price would be unaffected since every parcel is unique. B, price would rise because of the increased demand of lagging supply. C, price would probably drop because of the increased supply and reduced demand. Or D, construction activity in a new subdivision would decline. Okay, and the answer is B. Price would rise because increase in demand would lag. Good. Okay, when you guys get a loan, you have the mortgagor and mortgagee. Who are they? Who is the mortgagor? Who is the mortgagor? What is the OREE in that situation? When you get a mortgage, who is the mortgagor and mortgagee? So the mortgagor would be the borrower because they are giving that promissory note, which serves as evidence of the debt. And the mortgagee would be the lender because they receive that promissory note and lend money. Okay, so the mortgagor is the giver, the mortgagee receives. Okay, what do you guys think of trying some vocabulary with Adrian? Adrian's going to try a little vocabulary, guys. We're going to try passing the mic to him, see if that works. So see if he could do that there. So Adrian, he is going to take it over. I'm going to see how that works. This is a new thing we're trying. We're trying to change screens and change people so we guys give you a more varied experience. Okay, but while he's doing that, what's the difference between a trust deed and mortgage? Anybody know? What's the difference between a trust deed and mortgage? Okay, a trustee is three parties, a trustor, trustee, and a beneficiary. And a mortgage is the mortgagor and mortgagee. All right, the trustee receives that promissory note and they hold legal title. Who remembers what is legal title? What is legal title? Okay, legal title is the right to sell. Equitable title is the right to use and possess. Equitable title is the right to use and possess. Okay, so now I'm going to pass the mic to Adrian. He's going to go over a little vocabulary. And here we go. We're going to try this.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Am I live? Are we live or is it Memorex? Sound check. Check one, check two. Awesome. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Happy to see you all here. We are going to switch over to a little vocabulary. You probably heard a little bit of background. Turn the mic down a little bit. You Probably heard a little bit of background noise on Joe's. Anne says she's got a small screen. Does anybody else? You might need to refresh your window if you have a small screen. Good. Everybody else says good. So, as you probably heard, Joe's got a little bit of background noise, was having some problems with his connection. And one of the reasons we wanted to try this is so that we can keep you guys up and rolling when, when conditions aren't perfect. Jillian, Joe is probably in an airport. You are probably right. He lives a very exciting life. He's always got stuff going on. So anyway, let's get into some vocabulary. We're going to do this through the practice exams today rather than through the flashcards. So let's start with the illegal practice of directing home seekers to particular areas, either to maintain the homogeneity of an area or to change the character of an area, which limits where they can live. Is that A, steering, B, redlining, C, panic selling, or D, blockbusting? What do you guys think? This is one which confuses a lot of people. What do you guys think? Marta, screen is smolders. Not sure I understand what you mean there. But if you maybe try, if you haven't already, try refreshing your YouTube window. That connection passover might have resized the screen incorrectly. And on this one, everybody's got A for steering, and you are correct. So we're not fooling any of you here. The practice of directing people to particular areas is steering. A lot of people get that confused a little bit with panic selling and blockbusting, which is more the other way around, right? You're trying to get people to sell their homes because so-and-so is moving in. Michelle, if it's the lender or the agent, a lot of times, yes, it's steering. Diana asks, how long has this been a law? I mean, technically, you can go back to 1886, I want to say, the first anti-discrimination laws in housing. But it goes quite a ways back, Diana. Each iteration of that law has upgraded and updated what is illegal as far as housing. 1866, Michelle says. Thank you. My numbers not very on point today, this morning. All right, so let's move on to an organization composed of title insurance companies which has adopted certain insurance policy forms to standardize coverage on a national basis. Is that A, Alta, B, the VA, C, the FHA, or D, the CalVet? What do you guys think? An organization of composed title insurance companies. Alta, the VA, the FHA, or the CalVet? And most of you guys are on point here too. With A, Alta. A few people put FHA. The FHA is not an organization of title insurance companies. It is a government body, whereas Alta has maybe some government connections, but it's an organization composed of title insurance companies. Hopefully that difference makes sense to everybody. Next up, a method of obtaining ownership rights by the open, notorious, exclusive, and hostile possession of private real property for a statutory period which varies from state to state from 5 to 30 years. A. Adverse possession. B. Accession. C. Accretion. Or D. Prescription. What do you guys think? A method of obtaining ownership rights. So this one can be a little bit tricky, but I see that I'm not fooling any of you guys because everybody's choosing adverse possession. Great job. Now, if we were talking about a method of obtaining possession rather than ownership rights, then that could be prescription because we'd be talking about an easement in that case. And a lot of these requirements are very similar. That confuses a lot of people, but you guys are on point with all that. Calvet, Jose, I'm not sure off the top of my head, but we can look that up for you a bit later. Next up, those things which enhance the enjoyment and therefore the value of real estate but are not necessary for its intended use. Examples, a scenic view, swimming pool, etc. Are those things A. Turnkey, B. Amenities, C. Plottage, or D. Puffing? What do you guys think? Things which enhance the enjoyment and value but are not necessary. Turnkey, amenities, plottage, or puffing. Nice work, everybody. We're talking about amenities. And those of you, hopefully you're all paying attention to the chat. We had a question about Calvet that Joe answered and gave you some great test taking advice afterwards as well. So make sure you check that out. Next up on the vocab, any relationship in which one party, parentheses, agent, acts for or represents another, parentheses, principal, under the authority of the latter. So you've got a relationship in which an agent acts for or represents a principal. What is that called? A, beneficiary, B, novation, C, agency, or D, tenancy? What do you think? Nice work. Everybody's got agency, and you are correct. All right, let's move on. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted by the test taking conversation going on in the chat. Joe has, if you guys haven't seen it, he has a whole article written on that, and I see a lot of his thoughts and points that he put in that coming up on here as well. So for anybody who hasn't read that, check it out. It's under the menu bars in your member dashboard. It's called Test Taking Tips. It's definitely worth a read before you go in to take your test. Next up on the vocab, though, we've got an agreement between an owner of real property and a broker whereby the agent agrees to secure a buyer or tenant for specific property at a certain price and terms in return for a fee or commission. Are we talking A, listing, B, agency, C, waiver, or D, sales contract? What do you guys think? Agreement between an owner of property and a broker. And we've got A. The answer is A. It's a listing. A listing hires a broker to find a buyer, not to sell a house. Right. Now we've got the term concerning the shore of lakes and oceans is A, littoral, B, riparian, C, avulsion, or D, accretion. The term concerning the shore of lakes and oceans and a landowner's rights in relation to that is A, littoral. Littoral lake, littoral lake, littoral lake. Joe also just posted a link to a video for you guys for some test taking tips. Definitely check that out. What these kind of strategies that we've been talking about a little bit in the chat can help you do is take care of some of the anxiety that comes with taking tests, because you go into the test with a certain strategy for how you're going to approach it instead of just trying to remember everything all at once. So again, definitely worth your time to check it out. Now we've got a circle or semicircle around the Earth in a north and south direction, always touching or passing through the poles. Used as a guide in surveying, being placed 24 miles apart and running from a baseline. Are we talking A, a range line, B, a meridian, C, a baseline, or D, a tier? Any of you guys who studied your globes back in history class probably remember this. Looks like all of you guys do. I guess they called them longitude and latitude back then too, but meridian is also the north-south line. Excellent work, everyone. You guys definitely got your vocab down. Let's move forward to the right to use the land of another for a specific purpose, such as a right of way for utilities. What do you think? A, escheat, B, injunction, C, easement, or D, estate? Ronnie says, Joe taught me this. All right, what you got, Ronnie? The right to use the land of another for a specific purpose. Is C an easement? All right, guys, we're getting pretty close. Let's try and bang through another couple of these. Regulations that control the use of land within a jurisdiction. A, zoning. B, eminent domain. C, escheat. Or D, building codes. What do you think? Taya, not going to hit any more financing stuff today. Just a few more minutes of vocab. And the regulations that control the use of land within a jurisdiction. Going to be A, zoning. Saw a couple people throw up a B. Eminent domain is the right of the government to take a property. That's something a little bit different. And escheat is a different way that the government can take a property as well. Building codes do control certain aspects of buildings within a jurisdiction, but they don't control the use of the land. Next up on the vocab, a legal term which means the cause resulting in accomplishing a goal used in determining whether a broker is entitled to a commission. Is A, refinance, B, procuring cause, C, situs, or D, turnkey? What do you think? And for everybody who is talking about the finance, we'll work that out. Maybe didn't have the right preparation in place for being able to do this. We weren't quite sure what Joe's connection was going to be like today. But in the future, if we have to cross like this, we'll have it set up so that we can stay topic specific for you guys. I know a lot of you look to those webinars for the specific topics you're wanting to study. And it looks like Joe's going to do a makeup for you guys as well and do a complete lesson. You're going to get Joe's best. All right, so everybody had B, procuring cause on this one. That is correct. All right. Last one, guys. We have a condition created when a loan payment is less than interest alone. Even though payments are made on time, the amount owing increases. Look, we ended on finance, something that you guys talked about earlier. What do you have? A, insufficient amortization. B, increasing amortization. C, negative amortization. Or D, partial amortization. And the answer is C, negative amortization. Eleanor, property ownership tomorrow is on point. I'll be doing that one as well, and we will be sticking with that topic for sure. And not really sure what to tell you. My screen is as big as it can get. So if everybody else was seeing smaller screens, then we have something else to do. Oh, hang on a second. Everybody, don't leave yet. We are going to switch back to Joe for a little bit more finance today. Does that work for everybody? Can everybody stick around for a little bit longer? And Arthur says, please take a screenshot and send it to him so we can see what's going on with your screen. It looks like everybody else has been getting my screen in a full size. So Joe, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take over, please.
Okay. Okay, everybody, I'm back. This is Joe. I'm sure you guys can hear me now. Okay, we're talking about finance. So before we talked about a mortgagor and mortgagee. And we said a mortgagee is somebody who does what? They receive the promissory note. Typically, they are the lender. Okay, the mortgagor is the one who gives that promissory note. They are the giver. They are the same as the trustor, right, guys? Maybe we're getting a little fancy for our own good. I feel like you guys were like at a rock concert holding up those matches saying, encore, encore. So here we are. So you have that mortgagor, mortgagee. We learn our OREE rule. The OR, whether it's a trustor or a mortgagor, gives the promissory note and the EE receives. The other important thing we learn with finance is this thing called legal title and equitable title. Who here knows the difference between legal title and equitable title? Anybody? What do you guys think? Legal title and equitable title. What is the difference between legal title and equitable title? Eleanor, the EEOR rule should not be killing you. It's a suffix. Don't overthink it too much. Just OR is the giver, EE receives. That's all it means. Okay, legal title is the right to sell. Who has legal title? Do you have legal title as the borrower of the property? What do you guys think? Do you guys have legal title as the borrower of the property? Legal title is the right to sell. As the borrower of the property, you have equitable title. The person that has legal title is either trustee or the lender because they want the right to foreclose if you do not pay them. If you do not pay them. So that's what legal title represents. Equitable title represents the right to use and possess and to gain equity. Okay, everybody got that? So when you hear equitable title, you want to think of the right to use and possess and gain equity. Everybody got that? Okay, good. All right, so the next thing you have when we talk about finance, we want to go over is the FHA loan. We talked about the FHA loan before. And who could tell me really quick what it is? Then I'll lead into the next concept. So what's that FHA loan all about? What do you guys think? What's that FHA loan? So the FHA loan is the way to insure the loan. Why do they have the FHA loan? Why is it there? Why does it exist? Who knows why the FHA loan exists? Anybody? What do you guys think? Why does that exist? So the FHA loan exists because in 1934, right around the time of the Great Depression, they needed a way to make loans to people who didn't have a huge amount of income and couldn't make a big down payment. So it was a way for the government to stimulate the economy so that people who don't have a lot of money could also buy homes. Before that, it was just rich people could buy homes because they could pay these high interest rates and they could also make these large down payments. So the FHA was there so the common person, when I say common, nobody's common, we're all special in our own way. Don't you hate that when you hear people on the news say common people? Ugh, it sounds so elitist. So people who don't have large amount of income or large amount of money, they could get loans as well. So that's what it was, a government program so that people without large incomes or money could borrow money and buy property. So the government insured the lenders through the FHA program. But the problem with this was when they did that, they could not get paid back for around 30 years. That's why you hear that 30-year loan. You guys hear that a lot, 30 years. You hear that number 30 years come up quite a bit. So then the bank would not get their money back for a while. So what was developed so the bank could make loans? Because if they're not getting money back, what would they do? Thanks, Rosanna. Appreciate it. What was formed so that the banks had more money to loan out? So what was developed is this thing called the secondary market. The secondary market was developed so that they could buy and sell those loans, and then the lenders could lend more money out. So loans would be made through the banks, and they would be insured by the FHA, but they would only get small down payments. They wouldn't get paid back over a long period of time. So the secondary market came in to buy and sell those loans so that the bank would have more cash to work with to do more loans moving forward. Does everybody get that? So when you guys hear about the secondary market, we're going to hear about this thing called the resale marketplace. You guys ever heard of the resale marketplace? And when you guys hear about that, you hear things like Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac, all those different institutions, of which I did an article about, you should check out. They all buy certain types of loans. Okay, that's what Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac, and all of them do. They buy certain types of loans that could be sold on the secondary market. And that's what that's all about. All right. So I came back because a lot of you guys wanted to hear a little more on finance. So I wanted to come back and give you guys a little lecture on the key points you need to know regarding finance. And I'm sorry if our experimenting go back and forth bothered anybody. But next time we won't do that. Next time I do finance, we'll just stick with the finance. And as always, we are here to help you guys. If you have any questions, send us a message through the website. This is Joe from PrepAgent with Adrian. And tomorrow we'll see you guys at 4 o'clock California time, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock East Coast time. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.